You're listening to Milcaster Tales, brought to you by knowhownonprofit.org.
Skate Hop at the Millpot, Part 2. The Millpot Café business is dwindling because an anti-social skateboarding group have chosen the space in front to practice, creating mayhem and mess for its owner, Greg. This comes on top of an unannounced health and safety inspection by Mrs. Stern from the local council, as well as other worries. All in all, a very anxious time for Greg. The next morning, Greg finds empty crisp packets, bottles containing dregs of fluorescent liquids, beer cans, cigarette butts, and worse, a disgusting smell near the doorway. If Mrs. Stern doesn't close me down, that lot'll be the end of the caff. Greg sets to, scrubbing the kitchen floor, checking his precious vintage crockery for cracks, cleaning out the fridge, which, now he's started, doesn't look as clean as it should. He's grateful Ellie's come in to help, so that he can concentrate on cleaning, doing stuff he never has time for, trying to head off whatever the health and safety report might say. After lunch, Greg takes a break, sitting at one of the now very clean tables out front. He spots Marcus, founder of Millcarts, walking his way, clutching a large bag. "Join me, Marcus." "Love to, Greggy. Bit pushed for time. Just wanted to give you a new MMT poster." "MMT? Where have you been? Milcaster's most talented. Show's in a couple of weeks. I'm helping to drum up last-minute publicity. I would have thought you'd have a poster up with your community spirit." Greg now remembers being reluctant to display a poster. He loathes those ubiquitous talent TV shows, thinks they're exploitative. But just as he's about to refuse, Ellie comes out and picks up a poster. "Wow, Dad! Finally realised how great MMT's going to be." In a flash, Ellie's pinning up a poster behind the cash desk. "I'm told it's a platform for new talent," says Marcus, eyebrows raised. "I'll wait and see. Hey-ho, must get on." "I can't wait to see what's going to happen this evening. Hope the lads come," Ellie says as she potters about, helping. He grunts, ruefully, but is glad she stayed. The skateboarding group arrives outside the cafe as usual around 5:30 p.m. They practice the same moves over and over again. Someone puts on some music, the group cheers loudly, and those with skateboards start a series of movements and jumps, weaving in and out of each other. Ellie watches, entranced. Greg joins her, feeling protected by being next to someone young. Even though he loathes the music, he recognizes their graceful skill. How they glide through the air on skateboards in time to the music, land without breaking anything. Incredible. "Awesome!" shouts Ellie, clapping when the music stops. The group whoops approvingly. Ellie suddenly turns to Greg. "Got any leftover cakes tonight?" Anxiously, he watches her take a tray of cakes and walk over to the group. The wolf whistles grow louder. Greg hates them even more. He hears the tall lad sneer, "What's wrong with them?" Ellie laughs, says something Greg doesn't catch, and the tray empties in seconds. He watches anxiously as Ellie spends a few minutes talking with the group, then returns. "Honestly, Dad, they're harmless. They're just practicing a routine for MMT. Brilliant." On the way home, Ellie's excited. "See, it's a mixture of skateboarding and hip-hop dance. Rudy, he's the tall one, calls them skate hop. It's all about taking risks, and it's completely new. Can't wait for tomorrow. I'm here again." For the next couple of days, Ellie spends a lot of time with the group, particularly with Rudy, the tall lad, and Mo. This adds to Greg's anxiety about health and safety and his other worries. For the first time in years, he wishes her mother was around. He remembers, though, that there's been less mess this week in front of the cafe. Ellie tells him about her idea to promote skate hop. "A promotional evening at the caf? With that lot? You gone mad, Ellie?" "No worries, Dad. They'll do their routine, like a dress rehearsal for MMT. We'll promote it. Good for the Millpot, our first evening event." Greg's amazed to see the cafe brimming with regulars plus some new faces who've come for the Milcaster first evening Ellie's been advertising all week. The music starts. The audience watches the skateboarders glide, jump and spin in front of the cafe. Greg looks at their blank faces. Was this a huge mistake? Suddenly, he hears a gasp, some whistles, and everyone's on their feet, cheering. Even Minnie seems transformed as she circulates the donation bucket. After the crowd's left, Ellie gives Greg the money raised. Reluctantly, he goes over to the unusually quiet group. Their faces light up as he hands over the cash. "Thanks, Gramps. We'll do you proud at the MMT, defo." "And thank you for clearing up this week," Greg says, almost shyly. The big day arrives. The town hall's a flurry of activity. Greg arrives with Ellie and Minnie, all wearing skate hop t-shirts, Minnie's neatly tucked in. Skate hop goes down a treat, winning most original act and coming third overall. The trophy goes to a girl band. Greg and Ellie hurry backstage to congratulate them, but find the group miserably silent. "I knew we'd never win. I'm gutted." Rudy's voice has shifted. "I thought maybe this time we'd make it. Get that trophy. Anyway, I ain't going back to rehearse outside the café." Ellie does her best to lift their spirits. Greg has something of an epiphany on the way home. All that stuff Jim from Voluntary Action Milcaster was saying about social enterprises a couple of weeks ago suddenly makes sense. If he got some funding, he could help other groups like Skate Hop. Offer them some encouragement, some unofficial rehearsal space. Maybe get Milcaster First going at the café as his own platform for talent. Would Rudy and Mo help? Could turn out to be a win-win solution for the lads, the town, and the caf. The next day, Greg is working his way through a pile of post when Jason, artistic director of Milcarts, rings. "Brilliant of you to support Skate Hop." "They're great lads," says Greg, surprising himself. "Got a proposition. We'd like them to do a bit of peer mentoring at Milcarts with other young people, encourage innovation and creativity in exchange for some free studio space. Could you arrange a meeting?" Greg surprises himself again by saying, "Well, actually, they might be helping me with a new project I'm developing to combat social exclusion." Greg hears a sharp intake of breath. "We seem to be fighting over Skate Hop, don't we?" Jason says, frostily. "I'll be in touch," says Greg, feeling quite upbeat. Going back to the post and holding his breath, Greg opens a large envelope from Milcaster's Environmental Health Department.
You've been listening to Milcaster Tales. Keep up to date with the latest Milcaster events and discussions at knowhownonprofit.org.